which, you know, is perfect for the style that they play. Maybe we'll see something different when another team forces them to play from behind, but it's been a formula that has been dominance.
Emmanuel Sanders made an instant impact. He had a touchdown, 4 catches. George Kittle, for the third time, I believe, this season, had a touchdown wiped out by a penalty on the Niners, so that's thanks for him. But he is, on a weekly basis, he is such a monster for them. But yeah, this is a game where they piled up 232 yards on the ground. They're 7-0. This is the highest scoring game for San Francisco in 26 years. And also, my favorite stat of Week 8, gentlemen, scorigami, as they call it. This was the first 51-13 final in NFL history.
And it's got to be one of the only times in NFL history that a pair of brothers put up 5 sacks. A couple turnovers forced between Nick and Joey Bosa. We'll get to Joey later, but Nick Bosa with his 3 sacks and the interception you can talk about, Wes. I just think at this point I've thought about him as a defensive rookie of the year candidate. At this point, and I said it I think last week, that I think he's right there with the best pass rushers in football. He started out a little slow because of his injury in terms of snaps played, but we're still very early in the season, and I think he has a chance to go on and be talked about as one of the best defensive players in the league and be in the mix for that award.
Especially when one of those players, and we'll get to in a bit, that is vying for that coveted title, Defensive Player of the Year, is no longer in the mix in Houston. Wes, go ahead.
3 first-half sacks just for him alone, 6 for the team. That athletic interception he had off a deflected pass, his own deflected pass, in the second half, this has been multiple games. He has just absolutely taken over and demolished the offensive tackle in front of him. It has happened over and over again. You have to put him in the mix for Defensive Player of the Year when there's no clear-cut front runner. I think Cameron Jordan is a guy people like for that award. You always have Aaron Donald. Put him in there. Look at the talent they've had on that defensive line, and they've been, frankly, subpar before he got there. And now Eric Armstead is playing like a Pro Bowler. And that whole defensive line is just flat out incredible. And I think on a day when the Falcons owner is talking about how disappointed he is in his team and he'll review the coaching staff in a couple weeks, you have to ask yourself if we're going to start seeing teams not let these offensive minds out of the building. I know Kyle Shanahan is special, and he's up there with McVay. Don't let him out of the building. You have to ask yourself, when a guy like that is going to be poached, is your figurehead head coach, who's just doing nothing more than instilling culture, more important than your brilliant offensive mind?
Before we move on, we love our old friend, Nick Stockton. We had some good Stockton audio for you guys. You want to hear it?
Called the 75 World Series.
At the 24. On the return, and Zylstra with a flag down. Nope, sorry, that was just someone's hot dog wrapper on the field.
Dickie Stockton, Rich Stockton with the call. Let's move on. I can see how that can happen.
Wentz in the gun. Wentz gives it off again and running up the middle, picking up a first down and more at the 40, 35-30, it's Sanders, 25-20, 15-10-5, touchdown! Miles Sanders!
His first NFL rushing touchdown, and he outruns everybody, leaving all of the blue shirts in his wake for his first NFL touchdown.
We have been waiting for that to happen.
Time now for Road to Victory, presented by the United States Marine Corps. Can you say statement win? Yes, Greg, it's a statement win. Miles Sanders, the play of the game, that 65-yard run to put the Eagles in control. They stayed in control. A huge 31-13 win over the Bills in Buffalo. The Eagles scored 3 touchdowns on the ground, piled up 218 rushing yards against that Bills defense. It's the most the Bills have allowed on the ground since the Pats back in late December. And this, to me, for the Eagles, is the type of win that can catapult a team out of mediocrity, which is where they've been mired in this season. And we'll see. We'll see now, because the Eagles have teased us before and let us think that they're ready to do it. And we'll find out down the road, because the next 4 weeks includes their bye and then 3 home games: Bears, Pats, Seahawks. So we'll see if they're ready to play with the big boys in their building. But for today, there's nothing you could say but praise for a team that dealt with a lot of drama during the week. We'll get into that a little bit later. But to come out of this game and really put it on Buffalo, a game that was tight and low scoring early on, the big play of the game, Josh Allen, about 2 minutes to go in the first half, fumbles the ball, gets recovered. The Eagles turn that into a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to take the lead. And that, to me, is when things kind of changed. Miles Sanders then has that run in the third quarter, and they kind of coast from there. So after a week of drama, after ugly losses to the Vikings and Eagles, just a huge win for Philadelphia.
It's like the Eagles remind you how long the season is and how it flip-flops from week to week, because they're the team, I feel like our impression of them has altered from one end of the spectrum to the next. It raises for me on the Buffalo front just a general concern that has been voiced on the show before is they aren't an explosive offense. They are very much anchored on their running quarterback, and when he's going to turn the ball over and flip-flop the points the way he did, you nailed it with that when they went up 11-7 there. Buffalo, how do they get out of those jams? They're also, like the Niners, a team that's only going to climb out to these records when they're up early and their defense doesn't allow anyone on the other team to have an explosive afternoon the way that Miles Sanders did today. And
is their formula going to work if the defense isn't dominant? This is 2 straight weeks in a row they've not been dominant. We've been giving them kind of a pass, well, except for Greg. We've been giving them a pass at quarterback while Josh Allen develops, but he's not developing fast enough if the defense isn't going to shut
down.
Yeah,
they were 12th in efficiency defensively. They're giving up going into this game, giving up a lot of long drives and then end up making the plays. But there's someone where I do think you can look at the strength of some of the that they've gone against, and it's going to get tougher. They have some easy wins, but what's the idea here? Are you trying to sneak into the 6th seed? Are you trying to do a little more? I think if you're the Eagles, they're obviously trying to do a lot more, and we ask going into this game, what's their identity? Like, if they're giving up big plays in the running game and they're not mauling people in terms of their offensive line, who are they? And that is how they won today. I mean, they did a lot less under center today with Carson Wentz, where they basically do shotgun every play. They handed the ball to Jordan Howard, who's been one of their most effective players. He did really well. They run for 218 yards. They do a good enough job shutting down Frank Gore and Devin Singletary. And I still think they need to have an explosive element to their offense in terms of the passing game. They haven't done that. Didn't really do a ton of that today. But what a huge win. You get the Bears next week, and then your bye. If you can get into the bye 5-4, you're loving life.
I like that too, but I'm not sure that I trust today's game as a launching pad for this to be the consistent Eagles. I could still see them being 9-7 or even 7-9, depending on what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying too. It's like they've teased us a couple times this year where you think, oh, now they're ready to take flight, and then it doesn't happen. And in a better world, they have a soft schedule coming up where they could start to stack wins and gain confidence, but they will continue to face some of the better teams in the league. I thought it was interesting because I do put stock into this stuff sometimes, that Orlando Scandrick, who was with the team, of course, he gets let go, and he goes on FS1 and trashes the team and says straight up that the Eagles are, that team's living off their Super Bowl win, and how, basically trying to let the world know how toxic the locker room is. And the Eagles, to a man, rallied around their coach and the team, and then they deliver this performance. So I think there's some connective tissue there.
I think it's important when your veteran players play their best and lead the way. That's kind of the most important thing you can do. Their best players today were Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and Malcolm Jenkins, all of whom, especially Jenkins, probably haven't played to the level that they have in the past. And even Cox, I think, has been a tick below where he's been. So those guys just playing better and playing to kind of their standard would be huge.
And that bulletin board material, the players-only team meetings can have a galvanizing effect. We've seen it happen before, but it doesn't always have staying power. It might just be a week 1 or 2 thing.
Well, hopefully a team doesn't need that to get up every week, but you never know.
All right. Now,
you never know. I know.
Some people know, some people
know.
don't. All right. Here we go. There's another undefeated team. Oh, and by the way, I should say that was the Road to Victory presented by the United States Marine Corps. Now, we talked about one undefeated team. Let's talk about another.
Brady takes the snap, looks over the middle with a pump. Dances in the pocket. Now he starts to roll to his right. Throws to the end zone for Edelman. Dives in. Touchdown, Patriots.
That's the way you move in the pocket. Woo! Great composure by the quarterback. Can't defend it when you give this guy time. 14-yard touchdown.
Bob Sosi and Scott Zolak. Is Scott Zolak's voice deteriorating from screaming all the time now? Is that what's happening?
That, or there may be other reasons, but I would put that at the top of the list. I won't guess
Speculate
on that.
Oh, one more thing, by the way. PFT reported that the Eagles are pursuing something fun. Quote, something fun ahead of Tuesday's trade deadline.
That came from Greg's former boss, Mike Florio.
Anyway, the Patriots are halfway to perfection in the regular season. Tom Brady connected with Julian Edelman for 2 touchdowns, and New England's dominating defense had yet another touchdown of its own in a 27-10 win over the Browns in soggy Foxborough. Greg, the Browns at least put up a fight, but this was another rather easy victory, the 300th of Bill Belichick's career.
Yeah, 17 first-quarter points, and then the Browns never really made it a game. There was a moment where it was a one-score game, and they had a 3rd and 10 to try to get off the field, and that's the moment they hit James White for a long screen pass, which it just seems like the Patriots have come up with those plays. And at some point I'm watching this Patriots offense and all the turnovers, and I'm almost thinking, like, are they lucky? Because they are getting lucky on some level. The 3 turnovers on 3 successive plays in the first quarter, that is just an outrageous thing to happen. And you can look at each play and break it down and see a lucky element to each one. On one, a Browns offensive lineman kicks the ball out of Nick Chubb's hand. But he did it because Kyle Van Noy pushed him into it. So it's luck and residue. On one, Chubb fumbled it after a really long gain, but Jonathan Jones made a great, play in pursuit to go get him. And then the last one, which I think Browns fans are going to have a hard time, living with, is a shovel pass that Baker Mayfield somehow, gets intercepted on Lawrence Guy. But that sure looked like a play where the Patriots kind of knew what was coming and got in the way, and it hit him in the helmet. And so when these two teams play, it's like it's luck and design kind of matching, because one team is so sloppy with 13 penalties in the Browns, and one team kind of has everything in order, even if their offense isn't nearly where it wants to be.
Isn't that part of the and you could point through the years things that weren't so lucky for the Patriots, but isn't, for people that are so sick of the Patriots, part of the explanation in a nutshell that not only are they the best team, the best coach, or the best quarterback, that they seem to get the breaks sometimes.
Right.
This drives you crazy.
Right, but I don't mean to say that any of this is because it's because they're kind of putting themselves in position to do that.
I agree.
I agree with you. And the Browns, in this game especially, it was just like they were before the bye in terms of shooting themselves in the foot. Odell Beckham dropped a key pass on 3rd down that ended a drive. It's just a lot of little things.
I think the Browns could have used the bye week now for the exercise of Freddie Kitchens on down, examining who they went up against, and the fact that on every single possible way, from the way that the players stood on the sideline, they showed an instance where the Browns were in trouble because they had players in front of that yellow stripe, and on the Patriots sideline, they're robotically like a military militia lined up perfectly, and that's excessive, but there are examples, probably 200 or 300 of them in today's game, if you really were able to drill down bit by bit, where Belichick has his players prepared for every instance, which looks to us, I think, sometimes like luck, and Cleveland could not get out of their own way. And I don't, when the ball's kicked out of Nick Chubb's hands, that's not on Nick Chubb, who looked absolutely dynamic and powerful today and looks like the best Browns running back they've had in decades. At the same time, they're always about 50 to 60% there. Like, you see the potential, and that doesn't mean anything in November. We're rolling into November now in the NFL. Cleveland is still figuring out how to work together, and that to me is the sign of suspect, naive, still in development coaching.
We talked with Joe Thomas last week, and he had hinted that the Browns would look different on offense. I know it started terribly, but did the bye week lead to any changes in terms of how they attack the opponent?
We talked to him tonight, and I think that Joe Thomas thought he'd see the change that he mentioned, which would be quicker release for Baker Mayfield, but also a lot less mental errors. And I thought they did I came away from this game not in a total doom and gloom scenario, thinking this team with the schedule they have down the stretch can improve. I don't know what that's going to mean, but they didn't look. To me, the staple of this Cleveland team has been hideous mental errors, where you're seeing other teams, lesser teams talent-wise, grow out of that. Cleveland has not.
Well, they're leaning into the running game, which I think they should. They're making some big plays for Chubb, some creative looks. Chubb ran really well. I think they want to do short passing. We joined, as you said, Joe Thomas and Andrew Hawkins on their show, the Tomahawk Show, tonight, and they were so disappointed because they're doing the short passing in theory to eliminate some mistakes and have things be in rhythm, and they weren't in rhythm. You still had that interception. You still had the OBJ drop at a key spot. You weren't, making explosive plays down the field. And you have to give a ton of credit to Stephon Gilmore, who was guarding Beckham and the rest of the Patriots defense.
Any other thoughts on this game, John?
I did hear Mark remains undefeated in his first quarter pronunciations. He pronounced this game over. What the blank was that? All right, this thing's over. Late first quarter of a 10-0 game.
Well, that could have been applied, honestly, more to this Browns game than any in a long time, because again, it's 16 penalties and 3 turnovers. That is 20 instances that completely foiled my optimism this afternoon. It was a tough game to watch and to not watch without just zip through the commercials and move on with your day.
That's the one thing where the Browns have never let you down. When you make the pronouncement that it's over, it usually is.
I think I lost that once. I think I'm about 25-1.
Right, and the crazy thing is you watch the game, they didn't look like uneven teams. The Browns averaged more yards per play. They were about the same in yardage. The Browns, I thought, won the line of scrimmage when they were on offense.
So you're both saying they just got really outcoached.
Yeah, they got outcoached. They had two terrible challenges. But they also have the far better quarterback. I mean, that cannot be understated.
Who, the Browns do?
No, yes, the Browns do. Tom Brady is playing at a much higher level than Baker Mayfield is right now.
Right. I thought you were saying the opposite.
Yeah, Tom Brady, I think, is playing really well. And this is a point I tried to make, that what's going on around him, they didn't have Shaq Mason today. They didn't have their left tackle, their center, or their right guard. They have Mo Sanu, who comes in, plays 25 snaps, made a couple catches. Their running game has been the worst running game they've had in a long time. And their passing game is not explosive, but, whenever they've needed a play like that touchdown when he gets outside the pocket, or it's McDaniels calling up a screen on 3rd and 10 when they're backed up and it's a one-score game, or when they have a play to Dorsett where they only try it like once the whole game, but they hit it down the field. I think Brady's been making those plays. He's not where he is before, but PFF going into this week had him about the 7th quarterback in the league. That sounds about right to me. And people have been kind of saying down things on him because their offense is definitely way worse than it's been since 2001.
But isn't this the perfect setup right now? I mean, if he's not Tom Brady, the super duper star anymore, but he's like the best. He's an elite game manager, a little higher than that. With this defense, I mean, it's a terrifying prospect. The idea of the Pats having an all-time defense with late period Tom Brady not making any mistakes and lording over the offense.
They're your number one seed, and everyone else get out of the way in a conference that outside of maybe the Ravens, who's gonna touch them?
I think the offense will get better as the season goes.
And we'll get into it more on Thursday with our preview show, Mark. But at Denver next week, Cleveland, go win a ball game, or we might have to put you 6 feet under.
So he's like...
Is it a 6 feet under game next week?
Well, because Greg asked about the Bills. What is the goal? Does Cleveland actually view themselves as a playoff team?
I'm sure they do.
I don't at this point, but...
I think they can contend. This is a big game.
Lose to Denver, and I'm sorry, because I've been killing Denver. We all have for various reasons. You go to lose to an incomplete team...
6 feet under game.
Yeah.
Right.
So Brady is Chad Pennington with, like, Merlin the Wizard's brain right now?
Still has a nice arm. Still can sling it.
All right, let's move on.
Breeze takes the gun snap, drops back looking to throw. That ball's caught. Latavius Murray at the 10, turns upfield 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Latavius Murray. 15 yards on the pitch and catch to Latavius Murray, and the Saints take a 16-6 lead.
Zach Streif, Saints Radio Network. Drew Brees. I love this one. Turn this up, Rick.
Play this all day long in my house, please.
It's like the natives summoning King Kong on Skull Island or something. All right, you can turn it down. Love it. Drew Brees passed for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first game in more than 5 weeks. Thumb surgery. And the Saints, 6 in a row now. 31-9 victory over the Cardinals, who are overmatched. Mark.
Sometimes we must fight. Champion, you have spearheaded a long campaign against a relentless foe. What's more, you have faced the Horde with courage and honor. I wish I could say our work was done, but there remains much more ahead of us. I fear the days shall grow darker before they can grow brighter. The Alliance must ask even more of you, hero. It is clear that we cannot hope to end the War Chief's reign until we sever her ties to the Zandalari. That day will come, soon. But for now at least, know that you serve as an inspiration to those around you. And for that, hero, you have my thanks. For the Alliance.
I never miss a shot. Goddess watch over you.
Okay. Good talk.
The Saints end that Arizona 3-game winning streak. We expected that. The bigger question is how Drew Brees looked in his first action in a long time.
Well, it's an interesting game to come off of the Tom Brady conversation because Brees, to me, there's some similar stuff going on. That's you did a nice job with that, setting those back to back. Brees is also operating neck up the way you'd expect, and he didn't show to me any remnants of holding the ball differently or anything like that off of the thumb surgery. He did have that brace on it, and he still loves to. Whenever he's on the sideline, he's fiddling with his thumb nonstop.
He's like, put the camera on.
Yeah,
me.
we know.
I know
It's like you went through a thumb thing. That's good, but they are not. They're a bit different, and I feel like Sean Payton did not go out of his way to change the offense a whole lot from the Teddy Bridgewater experience, in the sense that Latavius Murray had 30 touches, and 21 of those were on the ground, but 9 were through the air, where the screen game is still, and this has been a Sean Payton trait, but even more now with the Drew Brees, I think limitations in terms of downfield throwing, which Wes has been hitting, going back to last season. I think it's just an understood reality at this point to some degree. He's still a sharp thrower. He can hit guys on wheel routes and do it unlike anyone else. But they understand who their quarterback is. He still threw the ball 43 times for 373 yards. But I would say the box, go watch it. Maybe I got stuck on this early, but I just felt like his stats were not what I was seeing on the field. And it's not a knock on Brees. They're very versatile. I think they're still one of the best coached teams in the league. And this game to me was just as much about their defense, putting the clamps on an interesting Cardinals offense, but one that, again, cannot. They got down to the Saints' 13-yard line twice and were held to field goals. And then from there, the wheels kind of fell off. They could not get the running game going. Then Chase Edmonds got hurt, and they had Alfred Morris, who they signed, wasn't even active. They just had nothing on the ground, and the Saints also shut down Kyler Murray on the ground. So a triple-dimensional offense went down to a zero-dimensional offense.
So 11 carries for 40 yards on the ground. And we talked about it.
Most of that coming in the last 5 minutes.
8 yards from their running backs.
We talked about it on Thursday, and someone put it out there, a media person perhaps, that they're a very hard team to plan for now, the Cardinals. Who was it, Aikman?
Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen. And it's like, well, let's see what happens when you go to the Superdome, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, Arizona was playing some of the worst teams in football, and the Saints are one of the very best teams. And now with Drew Brees there, when you look at, you don't want to get too crazy with the big picture, but like, who can beat the Patriots is usually the way I look at football. But the Saints, the way they are currently presently constituted with Drew back, they have a shot.
No one's sneaking out of this NFC. This is a strong conference at the top.
Absolutely, yep. and I think the Saints keep building confidence, getting better, and playing more complete football as the season goes along. Latavius Murray was a great signing, and we weren't all that excited by it, but they haven't missed Mark Ingram at all. And sometimes, the old saying, you're one injury away from a better team. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, their fourth-round rookie, comes in and plays nickelback because P.J. Williams got hurt. He really caught my eye last week and had a couple of passes defense today. That guy should probably keep the job.
That's 3 straight weeks. He's been awesome. And I'm not saying they got better with Drew Brees out, but they did learn about their team.
Absolutely.
And I think that's to their advantage. When he got hurt, we said, well, he's got 6 games before the bye. If they can just go 3-3, maybe they'll be fine. and here now they're going to their bye on a 6-game winning streak. And I mean, there's not much of a difference between them and the 49ers and, you know, whoever else you want to throw in. There's a lot of good teams in the NFC, but I mean, I think it's the best Saints team I've seen.
Yep.
What?
I mean, through half a season, how complete they have the best.
No,
their offensive line is incredible. They have the best tackle combination and the best defense Drew Brees has ever had. So if their offense is just very, very good, like it's been,
I can't disagree with you more on that.
You mean ever?
Compared to what?
Compared to their best teams when Drew Brees was in his prime, Jimmy.
Coming on in a contract year, and TJ Watt is playing defensive player of the year type football, and on the back end, the trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick is paying off, Tess.
Yeah, Minkah Fitzpatrick had to have a lot of hellos pregame. He was traded from the Dolphins after week 2 here in Pittsburgh. Fitzpatrick steps up in the pocket and inside the 10-yard line gets it to Jakeem Grant. So it's 1st and goal, Miami.
Watch number 22, Mark Walton. He picks up the blitz, and then Fitzpatrick, the veteran, he doesn't panic, steps up in the pocket while keeping his eyes downfield and finds a receiver crosser. That's nice execution by the Dolphins offense. Back picking it up, and Fitzpatrick making a play.
55. Kellen Balaj now in the backfield getting the direct snap here as he will take it ahead and straight ahead where he's met by Tyson Alou after a 3-yard gain. Lisa.
Yeah, Tess, as you were talking about earlier, Ben Roethlisberger very much involved still with this offense. He was just over here on the sidelines talking through that last interception with Mason Rudolph. Ben has said that he wants to help out in any way he can.
Early interception thrown, and now a 2nd and goal after the turnover. Double tight ends shift as Walton offset here on 2nd and goal.
Yeah, something is up. It was a little special to play here.
And he uses a timeout with the play clock winding down. Now Ryan Fitzpatrick, 36 years old. Remember last year he was in Tampa. He's a journeyman. His wife Lisa and Ryan, 7 children, well-traveled, 8 teams over 15 years. So family's up in Tampa. He signs with Miami, so he's been making that commute a lot.
Well, he's been doing that throughout his career. You know, I use this expression with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I said, you know, a lot of teams have wanted to date you, but no one has wanted to marry you. And he just smiled because he said, you know what, yeah, you're probably right. But he's a veteran player, man. He's bringing the energy, bringing the juice to this team. And you can look at his leadership style by the way the players play for him. And he realizes, guess what? I'm probably on hole 16 or 17 in my 18 holes. and so I'm playing this game footloose and fancy-free.
Eliza clearly the MVP of that household, by the way. Gave birth to a child in every state that he played in. Second and goal after the timeout. Sprints left and into the end zone's Albert Wilson. So Miami strikes first. And there's a whole lot of Fitzpatrick's back in Tampa right now smiling.
Let's watch number 18 here, Williams. He's going to come in and set a little pick, and when we come across, we're going to be in the flat. Nice little play, motion. Watch number 18 set the pick on the linebacker, and it is easy pickings there. That is great, not good, but great play design by offensive coordinator Chad O'Shea.
Jason Sanders on for the extra point. It's only attempted 6 this year. They don't score a lot. We told you this team has been inching towards success if you watch them in recent weeks. The interception of Rudolph and the quick strike with a little Fitz magic to start the game to Wilson.
$1, I got my full meal just in cheesy tots. Perfect level of crispiness for $1. Perfect level of cheese for $1. It's just great for $1.
Get cheesy tots or a crispy taco for $1. Now part of the snacking and saving menu. Only at Burger King.
Simple as this. Do not start J.C. Jones.
In fantasy football, favoritism is a problem. That's why IBM Watson analyzes millions of football sources to help you play with your head, not your heart.
So Ryan Fitzpatrick has not had a lot of success in his career against the Steelers. 0-6 mark, but off to a good start here tonight after the touchdown pass to Albert Wilson. Flag is down. It's back at the 34-yard line.
Illegal formation by the kicking team, number 34, was not lined up within 1 yard of the kicker's restraining line. That 5-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Pittsburgh's ball, first down.
So now Mason Rudolph back out there. He had never thrown an interception on his first pass of a game as a pro or with all the success he had at Oklahoma State before what you saw moments ago.
And that's coming off of the inactivity and being knocked out against Baltimore. I think this is an important drive early in the game. How is offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner going to settle his young quarterback down? I'd run the football and then get some quick short passes to get him going.
They got Rosie Nix, their veteran fullback, back after being out injured. And they will run behind him, and with it, they find success. James Conner on a chunk play, and a stiff arm handed out as well. That is what they want to get back to. Power football, and Nix delivers it as the fullback.
Let's watch our center here and watch our fullback. We're going to combo up, and we're going to ISO in the hole. This is going to be good-looking football. We hit him there, we cut off of him, and away we go. That's a really good block by Roosevelt Nix, number 45. And then at the end, watch Conner. Little stiff arm there. Let's play Steeler football tonight. Let's be physical.
He's riding out Ken Webster, but Rosie Nix, who had the knee injury, was out since week 1 against the Patriots. Mike Tomlin was quick this weekend to say he makes a difference for us. And he has been absent. As now they'll test the right side, and not much there. That's good pursuit from the Dolphins. Jerome Baker, the inside linebacker, with the tackle. So James Conner, you know, coming in, Boog, averaging only 3.2 yards per rush this season. That is second lowest in the league.
It's not his fault. The offensive line hasn't been good. And also the fullback was out. The tight end position has been in flux. So they're really excited tonight because they have Van Naden McDonald. They have number 45, Roosevelt Nix, back. They're going to try to establish some power run game here against Miami.
And a 25-yard run. That's the longest run this season for the Steelers. 2nd and 11 now. A-gap pressure is picked up. Rudolph with time, but it's batted at the line of scrimmage. That was big John Jenkins. 7-year veteran out of Georgia, the Connecticut native, John Jenkins. He's opposite the rookie out of Clemson, Christian Wilkins. Mentioned Jerome Baker moments ago. Much of the defense goes through the inside linebacker, Baker.
He's a good player. He jumped out on tape. You know, they've been a little disappointed with number 90, Charles Harris. And we all know about Xavier Howard, one of the better cornerbacks in our league, especially playing man-to-man coverage. This system will remind you a lot of what we've seen the last 2 Monday nights, Detroit and the Patriots. A lot of man-to-man tonight for the Dolphins.
Howard had missed the last 2 games out injured. Comes back tonight, gets that interception. 3rd down and 11 now. Edge pressure. Rudolph steps up and then has to check down to McDonald as a flag is also down back at the 46. It stands as a 5-yard reception for now.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense, number 40. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Brian Flores, the first-year head coach. Part of all the Belichick success defensively with New England. 38 years old, 3rd youngest head coach in the NFL currently. McVay's 33, and the McVay protege, Zach Taylor in Cincinnati's 36.
Couldn't have been more impressed with Brian Flores upon my first time meeting him. Yes, he came from the Bill Belichick system, but he's his own man. He's implementing his own principles in Miami.
So after the penalty and a fresh set of downs, here's Rudolph. Rudolph lofts it downfield, and trying to stretch out for it that time was Moncrief, but he floated it off to the side too much.
You know, we visited with Mike Tomlin, and of course the question that everybody keeps bringing up in Pittsburgh is at what point do you start to look for the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger? And we asked him, could Mason Rudolph be that guy? And he simply said, I don't know. We haven't seen him enough in game action, so these are important reps, not only for this team, but for the future of Mason Rudolph.
Look, what he's seen so far is 0 for 3 and an interception thrown. Here's 2nd and 10. Rudolph backing up, and a flag comes with it as he gets it to Snell. Benny Snell Jr. Remember, that flag is back near midfield as Aguavin has the tackle, and Snell went ahead for 16 as they will walk back.
There were 2 fouls during the play, both by the offense. Pass interference. Offense number 73, that penalty is declined. Holding. Offense number 53, that penalty is accepted. 10 yards. Repeat second down.
Let's look inside here, number 56, Devon Gotcha. Watch him. He's going to penetrate and come inside, but watch him grab the back right there. He grabs the back. This is going to be a screen play. That's a really alert play by defensive lineman, grabbing the back, helping his defense out. LSU product, Ed. Playing with a little smarts there.
I would never known that by the way he treated him at the team hotel yesterday. I can't even imagine what you're going to be like when the Bama game is coming up.
Oh, let's not bring that up. Let's enjoy the next couple weeks.
2nd and 20 now after the penalty. James Conner back in there. Rudolph. Downfield, wants it. And unable to get it. Instead, it's the 2nd interception thrown. That was Ryan Lewis this time. James Washington was the target, and Lewis has the pick. What a rough start for Mason Rudolph. Did he control it? Foot on the line, going to be close.
Google Pixel 4 has arrived at Sprint with an incredible camera featuring night sight. It's now so powerful, it lets you capture the stars. So, switch and lease a Pixel 4 and get the second one for $0 a month. Wow.
This is the Nest Hub from Google. That's a good shot. And it can, that's a keeper. This thing is really useful because, did I mention it shows you photos?
I am on a journey to help people find time to relax. Are you ready for the journey, Elizabeth?
How did you get in here anyway?
The cat flap.
That makes sense.
Relax with the real ginger taste of Canada Dry.
Gina, bring it in. So good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. James, great to see you. Absolutely a pleasure. Guy, thank you for coming.
Hey, man, thanks for having us.
Of course, of course. Hey, next time, your place. All right? I'll bring the games. Oh, my goodness, I gotta stop entertaining. Oh, boy. Animals.
Are you ready for some headline making on Monday night?
Hey, don't play with us.
Are Zeke and the Cowboys ready to keep feasting on the NFC East? Are Saquon and the Giants ready to show what they can really do? Are you ready?
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Experian Boost. Raise your credit scores instantly at Experian.com/boost. And in part by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. December 31st to 72, the undefeated Dolphins against the Steelers in the AFC Championship. Shula and the Finns beat Chuck Noll and the Steelers 21-17. They are saying it's an incomplete pass as Ryan Lewis, by the time he had control, his foot was on the sideline. So it makes for a 3rd and 20. No interception. Rudolph goes underneath. McDonald fights his way inside the 40. Let's bring in our officiating analyst, John Perry.
Yeah, we get 1 foot in, that right toe. Right toe is clearly in the white. Good reversal, incomplete pass.
But even with that, it was a bad decision by Mason Rudolph. The Dolphins lined up in their Viking front where they're roaming around. Everybody's, all the linebackers are standing up, and they just bailed out and played cover 2. And Mason tried to put it in the honey spot in between the corner and the safety. He put too much air under there.
Well, 4th down and 6, and the offense is staying on the field here.
And Miami's going to bring pressure.
Here's 4th and 6. Pressure off the edge. Rudolph with time. Incomplete. as he threw it behind James Washington. That was Wiltz with the coverage of Washington, so a turnover on downs.
It's really smart by Miami. They're double teaming Juju Smith-Schuster. It's man-to-man across the board. And Mason Rudolph with an errant throw. That's not on James Washington. If you're Mason Rudolph, you got to put that in front of your receiver. That's a bad throw. Really, really shaky start so far by Mason Rudolph. Throwing one pick, almost threw another one, and there on a crucial 4th and 6, threw it behind his receiver.
Steelers now 1 of 6 on 4th down this season. Quick turn from Fitz and a quick strike as he goes to Williams for 7 yards. Boy, Preston Williams looks the part, doesn't he? 6'5", 218 pounds, the undrafted free agent, and he's come on strong lately.
If you're getting off the airplane, you want him getting out first, without a doubt. And Fitzpatrick thinks that he can be a Pro Bowl type player at some point in his career.
There's Walton on 2nd and 3 as he gets close to that line to make. Mark Walton in there because Kenyon Drake, Walton's been coming on the past couple weeks, but Kenyon Drake, and we got the report from Adam Schefter earlier today that the Dolphins agreeing to trade him to Arizona for a conditional 2020 draft pick, but obviously in recent years used to seeing Drake the speedster out there playing running back for the Dolphins.
Walton's playing well. I really like how he's hitting the hole, really good vision, but his burst through the hole is, to me, he made Kenyon Drake expendable, how well he's playing.
First down for Miami. Chandler Cox, the fullback, in front of Walton. And the whistles come in that time.
Ball start on the center. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Look, the trade deadline is 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, so we told you the news about Drake. And then Leonard Williams doesn't even have to move homes. He goes from the Jets to the Giants.
I think that's a good trade for Leonard Williams. The Jets weren't going to pay him, and everybody's disappointed in Leonard because he's not a high sack guy. You can impact the game without always getting sacks, and hopefully the Giants can get the best out of Leonard Williams.
Now, it was the big draft pick for the Jets, and then the lack of production, getting after the passer, and a lot of criticism that came with it. 1st and 15 now after the penalty. As Fitzpatrick gets it to Gesicki. Mike Gesicki goes for 5 yards. Only had 22 receptions last year as a rookie, but now he is closing in on those numbers already. That is 14th catch of the year. And he's different with Fitz in there at quarterback. You know, with Rosen, they were keeping him more max protect, more tight end staying in protection. But with Fitzpatrick out there, Gesicki's getting out as a route runner.
And Ryan trusts him, and he'll throw him the football. He will throw him open, and I think that's why they're getting along very well.
Walton is buried that time. That was Bud Dupree, a tackle for loss.
Let's watch number 62. He's going to come across. His job is to get Bud Dupree. He comes across. He misses. Dupree ducks underneath. And my goodness, Steeler Nation has to like that out of number 48. Bud Dupree. That's just a slippery athletic play by a guy who's in a contract year, who's trying to make as many plays as he can so he can get paid in the offseason.
3rd and 14, and this is where 90 and 48 get after it. They put 2 on Watt. Fitz steps up, drives the ball towards the line to make, and that'll be a first down to Devontae Parker, the former first-round pick who has scored a touchdown now in 3 straight games. 14 yards on 3rd and 14.
Watch the get-off by number 90, T.J. Watt makes the tackle bail. But when you got a veteran quarterback like Ryan Fitzpatrick steps up, eyes downfield, that's what the veterans do. They don't panic. Just step up in the pocket and make a play. That's twice tonight Fitzpatrick has done that.
And now Walton goes straight ahead, and that's a good run from Mark Walton. Finally met by Devin Bush, but a 7-yard run for Walton, who had a solid effort last week against Buffalo, had a career high with 14 carries yards. A little bit of a roller coaster ride in his early NFL career, but he's found a home in Miami.
And Miami loves the way he runs. To me, his vision is what separates it. Yeah, we can look at his stature and talk about that, but his vision, just like we saw now, the ability to find that hole, really like that about him.
Second and 3. It's Patrick. And on the slant goes to Williams, the big target for a first down. We mentioned the early part of the career of Mark Walton. He was a 4th-round pick of the Bengals. That was in 2018. Then he got himself into a bit of trouble, was arrested 3 times last winter, was cut by the Bengals, and then picked up by Miami, and he's settling in nicely.
One team's trash can be another team's treasure. Mark Walton is trying to find a home here in Miami. They're going to give him an opportunity, and as a player, that's all you can ask for is an opportunity.
8th play of this drive. Fitzpatrick lofts it towards the pylon as he had a chance with Preston Williams, but Steven Nelson was coming in on him. Fitzpatrick in there, and when he looks at that defensive backfield of Pittsburgh, he sees Minkah Fitzpatrick, who facing his old team, was traded to the Steelers after week 2, and grab a 2020 first-round pick. Does Miami in exchange for handing over the second-year safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Second and 10.
This is where you better be careful. I'd chip him coming off the corner if I could.
And once again, he goes to Williams. So Williams, who came into the week as the most targeted rookie receiver in the NFL, is showing up early here at Heinz Field.
Well, and just look how he takes his time getting off the line of scrimmage against a veteran Joe Hayden.
All right.
Yeah, he's young, but the patience he showed as a receiver, rushing off and getting the inside leverage, it's a really good route there by Williams.
So here are the Dolphins up a touchdown and inside the 15. As Walton is met and spins to the 12, but just think about Miami. I mean, they haven't led a game by 10 or more points since week 12 last year against the Colts. The 7-point lead is the Dolphins' largest in any game this season.
How they're playing, they're trying to epitomize what their head coach wants, the personality, the toughness, the mental toughness, and they're doing that tonight.
Second and 8. Fitzpatrick as he goes to Hearns, and Hearns muscles his way in. What an effort play from Allen Hearns. 12-yard touchdown. How about these fins?
How about the poor tackling by the Steelers? I mean, that's a good throw and good catch and extra effort, but that is terrible tackling by the Steelers. It's zone coverage. Fitzpatrick sees it. He gets it to Hearns. Now watch one missed tackle. There's Devin Bush. Number 2 missed tackle. Mark Barron. Number 3. There's 4 missed tackles on that play. Just can't happen.
Guys trying to rip at the ball, not take the man down. And Allen Hearns gives them a 2-touchdown lead early. The winless Dolphins on the road at Pittsburgh.
Why choose Invisalign over other aligners?
Only Invisalign treatment uses Smart Track technology. It moves teeth more comfortably and predictably than ordinary aligners. So I could create custom treatment plans for every smile.
It's about time they gave left and right Twix their own packs. They got about as much in common as you a mortician and me an undertaker.
Or you a janitor and me a custodian.
Or you a ghost and me a spirit.
Left and right Twix packs. It's time to decide.
Reality doesn't believe in the impossible. It doesn't believe in moving without limits or breaking the laws of physics. Reality will never let you stop time or wield a lightsaber. Reality gave you one body and only one world to explore. Reality is yours to defy.
Healing.
Rated E to T.
I love a barbecue. Find a new use for your old drink. Truly, a refreshing hard seltzer with only 100 calories. Drink what you truly want.
On October 30th, be the first to see Stephen King's Dr. Sleep at an advanced screening with Fandango.
You will scream for years.
Stephen King's Dr. Sleep. Rated R. See it early with Fandango October 30th. Everywhere November 8th.
We trust USA more than any other company out there. They give us excellent customer service every time.
Our 18-year-old was in an accident. USA took care of her car rental and getting her car towed. All I had to take care of was making sure that my daughter was okay.
If I met another veteran and they were with another insurance company, I would tell them, you need to join USAA because they have better rates and better service.
We're the Gomez family.
We're the Rivera family.
We are the Kirby family, and we are USAA members for life.
Get your auto insurance quote today.
If you haven't seen fall's most watched new series premiere,
That's insane.
now's your chance to see what all the hype's about.
Why do you want to be a private investigator?
I really like helping people.
Stumptown, new Wednesday on ABC.
From high above Pittsburgh, aerial coverage is brought to you by Goodyear. A 12-yard touchdown to Alan Hearns for the ageless wonder, Ryan Fitzpatrick. By the way, that is now 57 different receivers in Ryan Fitzpatrick's career that he has thrown a touchdown to. Here's Switzer on the return, as he is spun down just beyond the 23. So you got Fitz doing his thing on one side, and young Mason Rudolph, who's just trying to bounce back after the concussion 3 weeks ago, and now he's got the pressure down 2 touchdowns with some of the boos cascading down from the crowd. We got an injury timeout after that return. We'll check on Switzer. Take a quick timeout.
From the start, the C-Class was ahead of its time. Still, we never stopped making it stronger, faster, smarter. Because to be the best is to never, ever stop making it better. The 2020 C-Class family. Lease the C300 sedan for just $419 a month at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer.
You watching for the Jays?
Or are you watching for these Jays? You watching for the dynamic duos?
Or are you watching for the MVPs? Bucks Celtics. Clippers Jazz. Wednesday on ESPN. Ball for all.
Go back to last season, the Dolphins have lost 9 games in a row, and here they are in Pittsburgh with a 2-touchdown lead, going up against Mason Rudolph and the Steelers. James Conner was tripped up and then was able to go ahead. It was McMillan the first to get to him.
not a very good start. Number 53, Pouncey, gets pushed back in his quarterback. That affects the throw of Mason Rudolph. He throws an interception. And then on defense, it's zone coverage. Hurry catches it as 1 missed tackle, 2 missed tackles, 3, 4. Just not a good start offensively or defensively for the Steelers.
That's one of the things that has surprised a lot of people so far this year is the offensive line with the Steelers. Got a lot of veteran guys that were used to saying their names at Pro Bowls, but on the handoff, Rudolph went down, but fortunately for the Steelers, Connor went ahead as he goes for 7 yards that time. Now, remember the lack of experience, then the 22 days off. You shake off some of that rust.
Without a doubt, and even that play right there, number 56, Devon Gottschalk, just missed the tackle. Wasn't very well blocked, but you got to give credit to Connor, making the guy miss getting through the hole there. As you can see, they're trying to settle Mason down by running the football, trying to get this offense moving, get some first downs, and hopefully Mason Rudolph will settle down.
Keep in mind, only his 4th start in the NFL. First down run for Connor as he is taken down after a gain of 4. Dolphins haven't led by 14 since week 5 last year, and look at where we are at the end of 1.
Don't get mad. Get E-Trade, dog.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Smart. Yeah, okay.
If you're in a horror movie, you make poor decisions. It's what you do.
Breathing on me.
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
In fantasy football, indecision is a problem. That's why IBM Watson analyzes millions of expert football sources, including Mike Greenberg, to help you with your big decisions.
Well, you think about where the Steelers were heading into tonight, and you sit there in the AFC North and you say, all right, the Ravens are out there. I get it, 5-2, but they got the Patriots coming up, and the Steelers could bank win number 3 here, and then you take a chase towards the top. Now you got work to do here in a hole against Miami. And Browns found out what playing the Patriots is all about this weekend. Be interesting to see Lamar against Belichick's defense. Here's 2nd and 6 to start the second quarter. Incomplete, looking for Juju Smith-Schuster. Xavier Howard with coverage. He had the interception to start the game.
It's going to be a lot of attention on number 19, Juju Smith-Schuster. So far tonight, early on, watch number 25, Xavier Howard. Just getting up in his drill. Be physical, get your hands on him. Mason has an errant throw, he goes up, and then on a critical 3rd down, watch what they do to him. They're going to bracket coverage him, inside out, double coverage, blitzer coming off the corner. And even on the last play we saw, where Mason tried to get the ball to him, it was man-to-man coverage. They're going to to pay a lot of attention to number 19 tonight.
You mentioned man-to-man coverage. He's 0-3 with a pick tonight against man-to-man. And now in the grasp as he tries to get it and does to Connor. A flag is down as it was Beagle who was wrapping him up. Let's see what the call is here.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 55. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
So it's a first down for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, let's watch number 55 right here. He's going against DeCastro. That's Baker, one of their better players on defense. Watch his hands right in the face. He had him right up there in his face. They called the penalty. And then you got Mason Rudolph in the pocket. He's trying to hold on to it at the very last minute, though, trying to get rid of it.
Now here's Benny Snell. And Snell able to get to the edge before he's tracked down by Jerome Baker. As Snell goes for 5. The rookie out of Kentucky who had 75 yards against the Chargers. He was awesome, a school record holder at Kentucky. Was a great player in the SEC.
Kind of a thicker back. Likes to come downhill. He's got good vision. You know, with Jalen Samuels out tonight, anytime you need to spell James Conner, it's going to be with number 24, Benny Snell. Fullbacks in the game, he's been taking you to the ball.
That is Rosie Nix. And they'll work behind him this time, but they are able to fit that hole. That was McMillan. You can hear how fired up that Dolphins defense is.
I'd be fired up too. I'm up 14-0 and I'm over for the year. I'd be pretty fired up. How hard they're playing, though, is a testament to the head coach, Brian Flores. Meeting him for the first time, I could not have been more impressed with the foundation he's building, what he's trying to preach here in Miami. He's doing it his own way. You know, everyone's going to talk about the Belichick tree, and I get it. But I really like the foundation he started to build here.
The job's not done including yet. What he did with that guy right there, Bobby McCain, the safety, who is in the game now for the first time on 3rd and 5.
But the clock is...
Use every weapon.
We need to push forward or we'll lose our advantage.
But that was Baker getting involved again.
We do what we must for those we love.
For country, for family.
It's a rough-looking start for Pittsburgh's offense.
But watch Baker. It's an inside game. The end comes inside, and Baker's going to come outside. And because of that, he gets pressure. And now Mason Rudolph is patting the ball. And at that point, it turns into a disaster. And again, it continues. The disastrous start for the Steelers moves on.
There's Williams at about the 16. As he makes it to the right side, reversing course, and still gliding on his feet that time. As it was Jordan Berry, a flag is down. The punter who was downfield in coverage after the 14-yard return.
Right. Salutations. Goodbye for now.
Take a portal from...
There is no foul for an illegal block in the back by the kicking team. It was during the return. That block is legal. It's Miami's ball, first down. Timeout.
The Dolphins defense doing their job here. 14-0, Miami.
All right, guys, let's go one more time.
Stop a minute, 'cause I'm so cold. Rise up right now, rise up right now, rise up. I know you can.
There you go.
The Genesis G70, North American Car of the Year. Lease a Genesis G70 from $299 per month for 36 months. Visit your local Genesis retailer.
A car
Connors Happy Halloween
I still don't get your costume.
Oh, I'm Becky before the baby.
takes a terrifying turn.
I so hope you're haunting me.
I'm living here now.
Please be your ghost.
The Connors, new Tuesday on ABC.
There's TJ, the youngest of the three NFL.
It needs
Watt
more components
brothers.
if it's going to work.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Midfield is Preston Williams, 13 yards there, and here come the Dolphins again.
I think the Dolphins have found a matchup they like. They are 5 for 6, for almost 60 yards. They like the matchup. Preston against Joe Hayden, and they are featuring that matchup right now, and they are winning it. Number 15, Albert Wilson, is supposed to be blocking number 28, Hilton. It's just a swing screen. They're going to swing it out. Blockers in front. Really good play there by Hilton.
Well, I mentioned TJ Watt, what he's been up to this year, but the big news yesterday is older brother JJ suffered a season-ending injury.
Motu just landed on the island.
And so disappointed. You got one of the mega stars of the league you're not going to see the rest of the way. That happened against Oakland yesterday.
It's a huge impact. But as long as they got the guy winning before with the S on his chest, I think they'll be okay.
Hey, Deshaun Watson, what he pulled off yesterday, that was something special. 6. There's Patrick. Taking down working his way back towards the line. One set. 48 that's a franchise record. 28 Hilton comes out the corner. You're going to see across the side here. In order to get pressure on the Dolphins, they're bringing the first rotation. And he does it. Drops it in perfectly, exactly what the ball is supposed to do on that.
We're halfway
So
there,
good special teams.
Now,
Nicely
don't
done
let
by
me
Matt
down.
Hogg, the punter. That group has to find an answer quickly. They only have 54 total yards.
More peaceful since the revolution. It is a shame that your but banking is a complicated profession.
Some assembly required, but it looks like the jetpack is ready for launch. Good luck. Seriously, you might need it. Some assembly required, but it looks like the jetpack is ready for launch. Good luck. Seriously. Just about done here. Eye sharp, ears open. You've got this. And we're done. Great work. Let's head home.
We each walk a line. Choose yours.
What can I do for you?
thousands of your kind before. You are no different. At long last, Stromgard has been reclaimed. I have killed thousands of your kind before. You are no different. Stromgard has been reclaimed. First things first, we need lumber from Highland's Mill. We also need iron, which we can requisition from Galson's Lode.
The Nag Troll, babe. Pleased to finally be making your acquaintance.
The feeling is not mutual, Shadow Hunter. Galson's Lode means a limitless supply of iron. That should come in handy. Highland's Mill will provide us the lumber we need to rebuild Stromgard. Stromguard is still weak. She cannot survive direct attack. Punch the Horde's vanguard before they get close.
I'm out of raid.
Three, two, one.
Our barracks is ready to train our forces.
Some rather large and hostile wildlife has wandered onto the field. The hunt is on!
Malakal Pass is now ours. Keep pressing the attack. We've finished building the armory. The Altar of Kings is complete.
Hello. Have a good one. Good day to you. See you later. Hey there. See you around.
too far away.
You need something?
The Naru have not forgotten us. Blessings upon your family.
What can I do for you?
We are attempting to salvage an enemy war machine. Do bring back any spare components you can find.
We have secured High Perch. We will soon sack Argorok and reclaim what is rightfully ours.
None of this land be yours, Trollbane. The trolls be here long before you.
Well met. Go with honor.
Great to meet you. See you soon.
What's on your mind? Off with you.
Interest ya in a pint?
Looking for something specific? Safe travels.
warriors fly over Newstead once more.
A sizable force of Witherbark trolls approaches Stromgarde from the east. What say we send a few of them running back to...
captured the Circle of Elements. Engines, blast down that gate and bring Rokan to me! They don't
I'm out of range.
King's honor, friend. Light bless you. Light be with you. For the Alliance.
My life for the Alliance.
Good day to you. See you later.
What's on your mind? Keep your feet on the ground.
Need help? Be careful.
The gate is down. Now move! Take back Arathi for the Alliance!
Greetings.